In this video, I will be sharing my personal top 3 video game soundtracks. I'll give a brief explanation for each and a sample of the game's music. After the top 3 soundtracks, I'll also leave some honorable mentions that didn't really make the list, in no particular order. In third place is Ristar or Rystar. There's really no official pronunciation for the name of the game. I looked for one and you really can't find one, but number 3 spot was the hardest to choose for the list because when I came up with an idea for a top 3 soundtrack list, the first 2 came to me immediately, but the third took a lot of thought. I narrowed it down to 2 different games and listened to the entire soundtracks from start to finish, and the only real tiebreaker was that I liked the credits music in Ristar a bit better. The Ristar game had a really catchy soundtrack the whole way through, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. The second best video game soundtrack on my list goes to Paper Mario. I found the songs in pretty much every location of the game fit well in the background of the areas you were going through, but the real musical highlights I found were during the boss battles. Nearly every boss I was hesitant to finish off because I just wanted to keep listening to the music that played with them. The top video game soundtrack on my list has to go to Dark Cloud 2 without question. There are just no songs in this game that I dislike, and the few songs that I don't really like, even though I didn't like them, they definitely fit well with where they were. Just like all of the songs in the soundtrack. There's really not a song in the soundtrack I hadn't found stuck in my head at one time or another, and with how good the music was in that game, I didn't mind it. Well, I didn't find the best songs in Dark Cloud 2 are quite as good as the boss songs from Paper Mario. The soundtrack as a whole is too good to give Dark Cloud 2 anything but first place. For honorable mentions in the list, I have Dynamite Heady. This was the game considered for third place for a while, even though the music I found was largely in a different style to the music of Ristar. I still found their soundtracks to be pretty much equal, which is why I had such a hard time picking just one of them to be number 3 on the list. Digimon World. The game had a good soundtrack overall. It was just too bad the game itself used the soundtrack so poorly it didn't take advantage of the good music it had. Anytime you moved from one map to another, the music changed, even if both of the maps played the same music, then the music would just start over. And the maps in the game are so small that when you're actually playing the game, you'll rarely wind up hearing more than the first few seconds of a song before it starts over, and it's really annoying. If you want to hear any of the songs in the game all the way through, you either just have to stand still doing nothing or look them up online. Eternal Ring. I don't really have any additional comments for it, just has a good soundtrack.